The moment Sister Wives fans have been waiting for finally arrived, and it was more explosive than anyone could have predicted. During the December 21st episode, Kody Brown sat down with his ex-wife Christine and her husband David Woolley for what was supposed to be a simple stop on his so-called apology tour. What he got instead was a reality check that left him squirming in his seat and scrambling for excuses. David Woolley did what none of the sister wives ever managed to do during their decades with Kody. He looked the man straight in the eyes and told him the truth nobody else had the courage to say. With calm precision that cut through all of Kody's rehearsed talking points, David offered some unsolicited advice that landed like a bombshell. Start with your kids, show that part. Because the women have moved on, but your kids still need to heal. Those words hung in the air like a verdict. David was not trying to be cruel. He was not looking to start a fight. He was simply stating the obvious truth that Kody has spent years avoiding. The ex-wives have closed their chapters with the polygamous patriarch. They have found peace, built new lives, and moved forward without him. But the children Kody brought into this world are still carrying wounds that have never been addressed. What happened next revealed everything you need to know about Kody Brown's true priorities. Instead of receiving this advice with humility, instead of recognizing that this man who now lives with his children might have valuable insight, Kody immediately became defensive. His face reddened, his body language shifted, and the mask of the apologetic ex-husband slipped away to reveal the same entitled patriarch viewers have watched for 20 seasons. David spoke from experience. He openly admitted that he once struggled with his own 8 children before working through their issues and rebuilding those bonds. He was not speaking from theory. He was offering a roadmap from someone who had walked the path of fractured family relationships and found his way back. He was handing Kody a lifeline, but Kody was not interested in lifelines. He was interested in controlling the narrative, just like he always has been. Sources close to the situation reveal that this confrontation was merely the tip of the iceberg. Behind the cameras, tensions ran even higher as David refused to back down from speaking truth to a man who has spent his entire television career avoiding accountability. The irony was impossible to miss. Here sat Kody Brown, a man who built his entire brand on family values and plural marriage, being schooled on basic fatherhood by the new husband of his ex-wife. David Woolley was not there to embarrass anyone. He was there to advocate for children who have been left behind by a father more interested in apology tours than actual apologies. But that was just the beginning of the unraveling. What Kody said next would expose the true depths of his disconnect from reality and prove once and for all that his priorities have never included the children he claims to love. Just days after that explosive confrontation aired, David Woolley sat down for an interview that would expose the fundamental difference between him and Kody Brown. Speaking on his daughter Kody's YouTube channel, David laid out his entire philosophy on family in terms so simple yet so profound that they made Kody's decades of parenting look like a complete failure. David revealed the promise he made to Christine when they first started dating, and it was the exact opposite of everything Kody Brown has ever stood for. He told Christine straight up that his kids come first. If she ever tried to come between him and his children, she would lose, and he expected her to fight for her own kids with that same ferocity. Their children were part of the package deal, non-negotiable and always the priority. Let that sink in for a moment. This man who had only known Christine for a short time was already establishing ground rules that Kody never managed to figure out in nearly 3 decades of plural marriage. David was not asking Christine to compete with his children for attention. He was not creating a hierarchy where romantic love trumped parental responsibility. He was simply stating what most decent parents understand instinctively. Now compare that to Kody Brown's infamous declaration that sent shockwaves through the Sister Wives fan base. During a previous episode, Kody stated without hesitation that he would not cut off Robin to have a relationship with his children. Read that again. This man openly admitted on national television that his 4th wife takes priority over his own flesh and blood. He was willing to sacrifice his bonds with 18 children to preserve his comfort with Robin. The contrast could not be more devastating. David Woolley entered the Brown family orbit and immediately established that children come first, no exceptions. Kody Brown spent years proving through his actions that children come last, somewhere behind his ego, his new wife, and his need to be right about everything. Christine knows the difference better than anyone. She spent over 2 decades begging Kody to prioritize their kids. She watched him miss milestone after milestone. She witnessed him forget birthdays, skip graduations, and ultimately refuse to attend their daughter's major spinal surgery. And now she sits beside a man who considers her children part of the package deal. Insiders claim that Christine was visibly emotional when David made these declarations during the interview. After years of feeling feeling like she had to fight for scraps of attention from Kody for her children, hearing her new husband articulate such a simple and beautiful philosophy must have felt like finally breathing after being underwater for decades. David also made it clear that he would never push Christine's kids to accept him. He loves them all, but refuses to say it unless they feel comfortable hearing it. He understands that earning trust takes time, especially with children who have watched their biological father abandon them emotionally. This is what real fatherhood looks like, and Kody Brown has no idea how badly he has failed in comparison. The numbers tell a story that Kody Brown cannot spin or deny. Out of 18 children, the patriarch remains estranged from the overwhelming majority. According to Janelle Brown herself, Kody is alienated from 90 to 95% of his kids. That is not a rough patch, that is a complete and total collapse of fatherhood on a scale rarely seen in reality television history. The receipts keep piling up, and they are absolutely damning. Leon Brown, the only child Kody shares with Mary, broke their social media silence in November 2025 to call out their father's lies. After Kody claimed on the show that he reaches out to his children multiple times, Leon fired back with brutal honesty. They declared that they have not heard from that man since their brother took his own life. Leon added that Kody blatantly blew them off at Garrison's funeral and called him a liar and a joke of a father. That accusation alone should haunt Kody for the rest of his days. His own child is publicly stating that their father could not even acknowledge them at a funeral for their deceased brother. The coldness required to ignore your grieving child at such a moment is almost incomprehensible. But Leon is far from alone in their estrangement. Janelle revealed that her daughter Maddie has not spoken to her father in approximately 2 to 3 years. Maddie did not even bother telling Kody about her fourth pregnancy because he has shown zero interest in her life. He has not visited since she had her first child over 3 years ago. Why would she share news with someone who cannot be bothered to show up? Peyton Brown, Christine's only son, recently confirmed on TikTok that the last time he spoke to his father was at Garrison's funeral in March 2024. That means nearly 2 years have passed without a single conversation between father and son. Peyton is now living with Christine and David, finding the stable male presence his biological father never provided. Then there is Mykelti, who was once considered the most loyal to Kody among Christine's children. Even she has drawn a line in the sand. Reports indicate that Mykelti refuses to reconcile with her father until he makes genuine attempts to reach out to her siblings. She is exhausted from trying to keep the family together while Kody does nothing. Isabel admitted on camera that her relationship with her dad is not close. Gwendolyn has spoken about the pain of watching Kody be a good father to Robyn's children while neglecting her. Gabriel called Robyn's victim complex unbearable and said he has no respect for her whatsoever. Hunter and Garrison were both blocked by their own father during the pandemic. This is the legacy Kody Brown has built. 18 children, and he maintains relationships with perhaps Robyn's 5 kids, while the other 13 have either cut him off or been cut off by him. The family he claimed to cherish lies in ruins around him. When David Woolley finished offering his advice about prioritizing the children, the entire energy in the room shifted. Kody Brown's carefully constructed apology tour persona crumbled in real time, and what emerged was the defensive, blame-shifting patriarch that viewers have come to know all too well over 20 seasons of Sister Wives. Kody's response to David was immediate and revealing. He snapped that his whole purpose there was to apologize to Christine, not to David, not to anybody else. In one sentence, he dismissed the very real concerns about his estranged children as somehow irrelevant to the conversation. The man who abandoned 13 of his kids emotionally was annoyed that someone dared bring them up during his carefully staged redemption moment, but Kody was not finished exposing himself. In his confessional interview, he doubled down with a statement that left fans absolutely stunned. He declared that he had set a boundary with his kids and was now setting that boundary with David and Christine. He added coldly that he did not care what David thought. He was there to apologize and did not want to be reminded of his children because it would bring him back to an angry place. Let those words marinate for a moment. Kody Brown just admitted that thinking about his own children makes him angry. The mere mention of the kids he fathered and then abandoned triggers such negative emotions that he needs to set boundaries against discussing them. This is not the response of a loving father working toward reconciliation. This is the response of a narcissist who views his children's pain as a personal inconvenience. Kody then attempted to deflect responsibility with a line that has become his signature move. He told David that those deteriorations happened as a party, not as an individual. Translation: it is not my fault alone, everyone shares blame, and therefore I am not really accountable for anything. This is the same pattern he has displayed for years. Acknowledge a problem exists, then immediately dilute your responsibility by spreading blame across everyone involved. David was not buying it for a second. In his own confessional, he explained why he felt compelled to speak up despite knowing it would anger Kody. He revealed revealed that when Kody cut him off, he knew he had to say what he said because he is around those kids and sees them hurting. He expressed hope that Kody would reach out to every one of them, not just on his own terms, but on their terms too. That distinction matters enormously. Kody wants reconciliation on his terms, with his conditions and his timeline. David understands that healing broken relationships requires meeting the injured party where they are. It requires humility that Kody simply does not possess. The confrontation proved what insiders have long suspected. Kody's apology tour was never about genuine reconciliation. It was about optics, about maintaining his TLC paycheck, and about controlling a narrative that has long since escaped his grasp. David simply held up a mirror, and Kody hated what he saw. To truly understand why David Woolley's words cut so deep, we need to revisit the moment that shattered the Brown family beyond repair. It was 2021, and Kody's daughter Isabel had been suffering from severe scoliosis for years. Her spine was so curved that it caused constant daily pain and was literally beginning to compress her lungs. Doctors in New Jersey had scheduled the major corrective surgery she desperately needed. Christine was ready to take their daughter across the country for the procedure. She expected her husband of over 2 decades to be by their side during one of the most frightening moments of their child's life. What she got instead was a masterclass in parental abandonment that would ultimately end their marriage. Kody flat out refused to fly to New Jersey with Isabel. He cited his strict pandemic protocols as the reason, claiming he could not risk exposing the rest of the family to possible infection. But here is where his excuse fell apart completely. Kody was not isolating from everyone. He was freely spending time with Robyn and her children while treating his other wives and kids like potential biohazards. Then came the moment that still haunts Sister Wives fans to this day. When Christine pushed back against his refusal to attend, Kody actually suggested that their 17-year-old daughter travel alone from Arizona to New Jersey for major spinal surgery. He wanted to send a terrified teenager across the country to have her spine reconstructed without either parent present. Isabel broke down in tears on camera. She looked at her father and asked through sobs how long he wanted her to wait. She asked if she was not really needed anymore. The pain in her voice was unbearable to watch. Christine immediately shut down the suggestion, telling Isabel it was not an option and that she would never do that to her. Christine and Isabel made the trip alone. They quarantined for 2 weeks before the surgery. Christine handled the exhausting round-the-clock aftercare by herself, waking every 2 hours to administer pain medication. Kody stayed behind in Flagstaff, safe and comfortable with Robyn, while his daughter underwent a life-changing operation. The surgery was more complicated than doctors anticipated. Isabel's curve was severe, and the procedure pushed the medical team to their limits. Through it all, Kody was absent. He later admitted on camera that he regretted not being there and acknowledged he should have gone. But words without action mean nothing. Insiders report that this single event was the breaking point for Christine. Watching her husband choose pandemic paranoia and Robyn over their suffering child crystallized everything she had been feeling for years. Within months, she announced their separation and began building a new life. Now David Woolley stands in the gap Kody left behind. He shows up for Christine's children without being asked. He provides the stable presence Isabel and her siblings were denied. The contrast is devastating and undeniable. In March 2024, tragedy struck the Brown family when Garrison Brown took his own life at just 25 years old. The loss sent shockwaves through the entire clan and left Christine devastated. Garrison was not her biological son, but she had helped raise him alongside Janelle for decades. He was her child in every way that mattered. During the recent interview on Kody's YouTube channel, Christine opened up about her grief in ways that broke hearts across the Sister Wives fan base. She revealed that after Garrison died, she went to David searching for relief from the unbearable pain. She told him she had this huge hole in her heart and needed it to go away. David's response came from a place of profound personal experience. He told Christine the truth she did not want to hear but desperately needed. The hole would never go away. It would never get smaller. She would always have a Garrison-sized hole in her heart. But what would change was her capacity to carry it. Christine admitted that hearing those words was incredibly hard. She wanted comfort. She wanted someone to tell her the pain would fade. Instead, David gave her honesty rooted in his own devastating journey through loss. He understood grief because he had lived through the unimaginable himself. David lost his first wife to suicide in 2012 after 20 years of marriage. He found himself suddenly a single father to 8 children, forced to tell them that their mother mother was never coming home. He spent over a decade navigating that darkness before meeting Christine. When he speaks about grief and loss, he speaks with the authority of someone who has walked through fire. This is the man who now helps Christine process her pain, not with empty platitudes or dismissive comments, but with hard-earned wisdom about surviving the unsurvivable. He told her that numbing the grief would prevent healing. She needed to experience every emotion to move forward and become better. Compare this to Kody Brown's response to tragedy. Reports indicate that at Garrison's funeral, Kody could barely acknowledge his own grieving children. Leon claims he blatantly blew them off during the service. While Christine and Janelle leaned on each other and their extended family, Kody remained emotionally distant even in death. David and Christine planted a tree in their backyard to honor Garrison's memory. They named it Sedona Midnight as a tribute to a joke Garrison once made about what his stripper name would be. The tree stands as a permanent reminder that they can always talk to him, that his memory lives in their home. This is what support looks like. This is what showing up means. David did not know Garrison well before his passing, but he understood the magnitude of the loss. He created space for Christine to grieve, while offering the steady presence she needed to survive. Kody never learned how to be this person, and now his children seek comfort from someone else entirely. Every conversation about Kody Brown's failed relationships eventually leads back to the same place. Robyn Brown sits at the center of the family's destruction like a spider in a web, and the children Kody abandoned have made their feelings about her crystal clear. Gabriel Brown delivered perhaps the most damning assessment of his father's fourth wife during a recent episode. He accused Robyn of having a victim complex and said that if she actually believes the other children mistreated her or her kids, there is no chance of him ever having a relationship with her again. He stated plainly that he does not have any respect for Robyn whatsoever. This is not teenage angst or divorce bitterness. Gabriel is a grown man who watched his father systematically prioritize Robyn and her children over everyone else in the family. He saw Kody demand that he and his brother Garrison leave their mother's home during the pandemic, while Robyn's kids faced no such ultimatums. He experienced firsthand the two-tiered system Kody created, where Robyn's comfort mattered more than his own existence. Gwendolyn Brown has spoken publicly about the pain of watching her father be an engaged and loving parent to Robyn's children while neglecting her. She recalled never seeing Kody excited when she came home from school or celebrated small victories the way he did with Solomon and Ariella. The favoritism was so blatant that it scarred her understanding of what fatherhood should look like. Fans have taken notice of this pattern and are demanding accountability. Across Reddit and social media, Sister Wives viewers are calling for a Robyn apology tour to match the one Kody is currently fumbling through. They want her to answer for allegedly pushing Kody to skip Isabel's surgery. They want her to explain why she supported alienating the older children during COVID. They want her to own her role in tearing the family apart. Kody has made his position on this matter painfully clear. He declared without shame that he will not cut off Robyn to have a relationship with his children. He stated that the door is open for his kids, but he will be holding Robyn's hand and will never let go. In other words, his children must accept the woman many blame for destroying their family, or they get nothing. This ultimatum has backfired spectacularly. Rather than forcing reconciliation, it has cemented the estrangement. The children see a father who chose his fourth wife over the family he spent decades building. They see a man who prioritizes keeping Robyn comfortable over healing wounds he inflicted. Robyn herself seems to understand that she is viewed as the villain. She admitted on camera that she and Kody are the outcasts who have been voted off the island. She expressed that she cannot even think about the family reuniting without falling apart emotionally. Perhaps that guilt is warranted. Perhaps she knows exactly what role she played in this catastrophe. Either way, the children have rendered their verdict, and Robyn stands condemned alongside Kody. For one brief shining moment, it appeared that Kody Brown had finally achieved a breakthrough. During his appearance on Special Forces World's Toughest Test earlier this year, the patriarch broke down sobbing while discussing his estrangement from his children. He took full responsibility. He admitted his failures. He acknowledged that he alone had destroyed these precious relationships. Fans watched in disbelief as tears streamed down Kody's face. He confessed to the military instructors that he had been a terrible father and husband. He owned his mistakes without deflection or blame shifting. For the first time in 20 seasons of Sister Wives, Kody Brown appeared to be genuinely accountable for the wreckage he created. The moment felt historic. Perhaps this was the turning point everyone had been waiting for. Perhaps the grueling physical and mental challenges of Special Forces had cracked through his narcissistic armor and forced him to confront reality. Perhaps his children would finally get the father they deserved. Then Kody went on Good Day New York and burned it all to the ground. During his live television appearance in November 2025, Kody completely recanted everything he said on Special Forces. He admitted that he only made those statements because he thought that was what the military guys wanted him to say. He claimed he felt the only military way to manage the situation was to take full responsibility, implying it was performance rather than genuine confession. The betrayal was staggering. Kody had looked into cameras with tears in his eyes and told the world he was to blame. Now he was casually explaining that it was all an act designed to impress the directing staff. His children's pain was apparently just material to be manipulated for whatever audience he faced. But Kody was not finished walking back his accountability. He declared that he is only partly to blame for the estrangements. He claimed that all his children had great relationships with him until the divorces happened, conveniently ignoring years of documented neglect that preceded any separation. He insisted that the kids became victims of divorce and had to pick sides. This narrative completely absolves Kody of responsibility. In his revised version of history, he was a wonderful father until his wives poisoned the children against him. Never mind the surgery he skipped. Never mind the birthdays he forgot. Never mind the pandemic rules that banned his own sons from family gatherings. None of that matters in Kody's reimagined timeline. Leon Brown was not having it. They publicly called their father a liar after he claimed to have reached out to his children multiple times. The receipts do not match Kody's story, and his kids are no longer staying silent about his deceptions. This pattern of confession, followed by reversal, reveals something deeply troubling about Kody Brown. He understands what accountability looks like. He can perform it convincingly when necessary, but genuine change requires sustained effort, and Kody always retreats to defensiveness the moment pressure eases. Kody Brown's grand redemption arc has become the laughingstock of reality television. What TLC marketed as a heartfelt journey toward reconciliation has devolved into a masterclass in insincerity that fans are gleefully dissecting across every social media platform. The apology tour concept was simple enough. Kody would visit each of his 3 ex-wives separately, offer genuine apologies for his behavior, and hopefully begin healing the wounds that have festered for years. In practice, the execution has been nothing short of disastrous. With Janelle, Kody managed to say the words but wrapped them in so many qualifications that they lost all meaning. He admitted to being a jackass, which is about as specific as apologizing for being a mammal. He acknowledged some wrongdoing from 30 years ago while conveniently skipping over the more recent betrayals that actually ended their marriage. With Christine, the wheels came off completely. David Woolley's presence disrupted Kody's carefully rehearsed script, and the patriarch's true colors emerged the moment someone challenged his narrative. Rather than accepting David's advice with grace, Kody retreated into defensiveness and boundary setting. Now comes Mary, and previews suggest this final stop will be the most explosive yet. In teaser footage, Mary looks directly at Kody and declares that he is not going to shut her down anymore. After years of being dismissed and ignored, the first wife appears ready to unleash decades of suppressed frustration. Mary revealed that the last time she saw Kody at Coyote Pass, they did not even look at each other. She admitted to feeling guarded and wary about this supposed reconciliation attempt. She has seen too many false starts to trust that this time will be any different. Behind the scenes, sources close to the situation claim the entire apology tour is rooted in financial motivation rather than genuine remorse. Reddit users have overwhelmingly concluded that Kody's sudden desire to make amends conveniently coincides with needing storylines to justify his TLC paycheck. Without drama, there is no show. Without a show, there is no income. Christine herself has stated publicly that she will not accept any apology from Kody until he fixes his relationships with his children. This puts the patriarch in an impossible position. The ex-wives are demanding he prioritize the kids are demanding genuine accountability, and Kody is demanding everyone accept Robin as part of the package. Fans have noticed something else troubling about the apology tour. Kody is apologizing to the women he divorced, but has made no similar effort toward the children he abandoned. There is no kids apology tour. There are no filmed reconciliation attempts with Peyton or Gwendolyn or Gabriel. The people who arguably deserve apologies most are nowhere on his itinerary. This selective remorse speaks volumes about Kody's priorities. He will perform contrition for cameras when it benefits his career. He will say whatever words might generate sympathy from viewers. But the hard work of actually repairing relationships with his children remains perpetually on his to-do list, never quite making it to the top. The contrast between these two men could not be more stark or more damning. On one side stands David Woolley, a widower who raised 8 children alone after unimaginable tragedy and still emerged with his capacity for love intact. On the other stands Kody Brown, a man who had every advantage and every opportunity yet systematically destroyed the family he claimed to cherish. David never asked to become a father figure to the Brown children. He simply showed up and kept showing up until they trusted him. Christine revealed that he is there for her kids 100% of the time. He fills a dad role in their lives without ever trying to replace their biological father. He understands that earning love takes patience, consistency, and humility. Kody Brown now lives with Christine and David. Let that sink in. Kody's only son with Christine chose to move in with his mother's new husband rather than maintain any connection with his biological father. This is not a custody arrangement or a temporary situation. This is a grown man deciding that David Woolley provides the stable male presence his own father never could. Isabel has spoken about feeling safe with David in ways she never articulated about Kody. She admitted initial fears that he might try to replace her dad, but those concerns evaporated as David consistently respected boundaries while remaining present and supportive. She trusts him to protect her younger sister truly, which is perhaps the highest endorsement any stepfather could receive. Meanwhile, Kody continues his spiral into irrelevance. His apology tour has fooled nobody. His children have publicly called him a liar. His ex-wives have moved on to happier lives without him. Even Robin, his last remaining wife, admitted on camera that she does not agree with his attitudes and behaviors. The man who once commanded a family of over 20 people now finds himself increasingly isolated. The ultimate irony is that Kody still does not understand what went wrong. He genuinely believes the divorces caused his estrangement from the children, rather than recognizing that his treatment of the children caused the divorces. He blames trash talk and gossip, rather than acknowledging that his kids simply witnessed his neglect firsthand and drew their own conclusions. David Woolley did not need to expose Kody Brown. He simply needed to exist as a counterexample. By treating Christine's children with basic decency and respect, he illuminated just how thoroughly Kody had failed. By prioritizing kids over ego, he demonstrated what fatherhood should look like. By showing up consistently, he proved that presence matters more than proclamations. The sister wives collapse deepens with every passing episode, but the real story is not about polygamy or divorce or reality television drama. It is about a man who chose himself over his children and another man who chose children over himself. The Brown kids have noticed the difference, and they have made their choice. Drop your thoughts below, like, subscribe, and stay tuned. The next video is waiting, and you won't want to miss what's coming next.